I made a deal with God as a teenager. I said, Lord, if you give me a long life, I will accept you when I'm on my deathbed. And so soon after I made that deal, I was almost killed. The first time was a car accident. Second time, I was in a Ford Pinto, which used to blow up if you looked at them the wrong way. And I'm heading to a train track at night. And there had been a storm the time before, so you couldn't see. The train came at an angle. It was on a rugged road. You couldn't even tell the track. And it was on and there was no protection. There were accidents there with that before. There was nothing. And I'm coming, and the other cars are crossing. So I figured, well, maybe the train already passed, or maybe it's broken, the light, because the light was going on, but maybe it's broken. So let me see. So I started going up. I look, I see a light. The light didn't look like it was moving because it was coming head on. I was on the track. At one point, I said, you know what? Maybe I'm a little too close. I couldn't tell. Maybe I'm too close. Let me just back up just to be safe. But now I look in the mirror, and there's headlights in back of me. Didn't look like it could back up. So the train's coming. I have headlights in back of me. I said, I'll back up about a foot. But I thought I was just being safe. I did. But I was still in the path of the train. So the train came, smashed into the Ford Pinto. The car went up like aluminum foil. The only thing I could do was call out to God. The car was destroyed, and I didn't get a scratch. So now I said, Lord, can we renegotiate? I said, I have a new deal for you. I will not accept you when I'm on my deathbed, although God was bringing that deathbed pretty close. I said, I'll accept you when I turn 20. That was the new deal. Just don't kill me until then. And so what happened was, on my 20th birthday, that was about a little less than a year later. On my 20th birthday, I was just trying to buy time. 20th birthday, I didn't know how to get saved, except I was watching Christian television. I watched the 700 Club, listening to Christian radio. I remember my time was up. I said, I gave my word. I have to do it. I remember how in Hebrew school, God met Moses on a mountain and Elijah on a mountain. So I said, let me find a mountain. So I found a mountain, and at night I went up to the top of the mountain, never been there before, kneeled down on a rock on the top of the mountaintop, and gave my life to the Lord. It says that Jews need signs. I needed a train. Okay. And the thing is that years later, I'm from, you know this, but I'm from the line of Aaron. I'm descended from Aaron. The sons of Aaron were the priests of Israel. So years later, I'm reading as a believer. In other words, I could say I was supposed to be in ministry, because that's what you're really supposed to be if you're a Cohen. But I'm reading about how on the time of the temple, which is kind of the last word on the Kohanim, David, and they ordained that the son of Aaron would come to the Lord's service, would come to serve the Lord on his 20th birthday. So I came to the Lord on my 20th birthday on the mountaintop, having no idea of all this. I just was looking for a round number to buy more time. But God is sovereign, and he had me come to the Lord on the ancient exact day that I was to come. Years later, I decided to return to the mountain on where I was saved. And since then, I'd been in ministry. I'd gone all over the world, and it's weird because in all these different lands, my walk began on a mountain, and in all these lands, I would end up on these mountains, and often they were cursed mountains where the gods were, or the shrine, and there'd be some showdown, and so I went back, and it was night. I had a flashlight, a shofar, a talit, prayer cloth, and a Bible. I went up to the top to find the stone where I came to the Lord. And I had a great time with the Lord, thanking him for all that he's done. And I sounded the shofar, and I looked at the Bible. I opened it up, and it said, the enemy says he has your mountain. I'm thinking, that's kind of where I'm on a mountain, but I don't know what this means, if it means anything. The enemy says, I have your mountain. So the next morning, I'm at Beth Israel, the congregation I lead in New Jersey, and a woman is waiting, the last person online for me to greet, and she said, she knew it was my birthday. She says, I know it's your birthday today because I got saved on my birthday. I have a gift for you. She went to a store, bought a framed drawing, and then I look at the drawing. She gives it to me. It's a drawing of a man standing on top of a mountain with a prayer cloth and the shofar, sounding the shofar. I said, that's interesting because that was me last night. So what do you mean? He said, well, I went to the mountain where I came to the Lord. So what mountain? She said, I said, I don't know the name of the mountain. I just want, she said, describe it. I did. She says, I know the mountain. I said, really? She said, I live at the bottom of it. I said, really? She said, do you know what that mountain is? I said, no. She said, that mountain is dedicated to Satan. I said, really? Well, I got saved on the top of it. She said, really? Where? I said, yeah, there was this flat stone. She said, that's the altar. I said, well, I gave my life on that. And then it hit me. There was a mystery that had been there for years. When I had been on the mountain, I saw in writing on the stone, it said, no Jew shall enter these sacred grounds. And I thought, who would write that? Nazis, neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan, who would write that? Satan would write that through his people. Satan, see, for 2,000 years, the enemy has been trying to keep the Jewish people from their sacred ground, which is Messiah. And I said, too late, Satan. That was my sacred ground. I came to the Lord on that day. So, and it turned out that was a foreshadowing because from there I would end up it was a cursed mountain, but God had me there, had a victory there. And so all throughout the world, I was sent on all these things, I ended up on a mountain that was, for this God and this, and only when I came back, I didn't realize it all started on that